So boys, in today's video I want to talk about how finding your own crowd doesn't mean you won't be ignored, right? It doesn't mean you're going to fit in with those people. Now, I've been part of a lot of crowds over the years, right? Whether it's online or in real life. Like years back I was part of a motorsports kind of thing on Discord. That was about 6 or 7 years ago by now. And at first it was okay. Like like we were shooting the breeze, talking to each other and all this. But I arrived quite late to that group. It was already well established, and there was about 100 to 100 to 150 members, and it had been going on for years already, and I got invited by someone, and it when I got there, you could tell that everyone already had their own connections already established. Like there'd been guys that had been there for years. They knew each other. They knew how the culture of that server was, and when you're a new person in that environment, you do feel like an outsider because people don't really know who you are. They don't know what your opinions are, what your beliefs are. They don't know which team you follow, which or all any of this kind of stuff. Like who's your favorite driver or whatever. So they won't really be open to speaking to you. Like they may give you a couple of shout outs, or if you leave a message there, they might occasionally interact with you. But they will keep you at arm's length. And these people who keep you at arm's length, they're always. I remember when I used to say things like, there was things we wouldn't really agree on in the server, and when someone has you at arm's length, they'll they'll look for opportunities to jump on you, right? They'll say things like, this guy, why is this guy saying this? Why is he talking bullshit? What's the point in talking about this? And the guy, they have you at arm's length, but at the same time, they want to make sure you're not part of the crew, right? They want to keep you in that position, and just stay in their own inner circle. Like that, they're very selective of who they let into that circle, and if you're a new guy who doesn't fit, who they don't know really that well, or he doesn't fit the current atmosphere or whatever of that server, they will keep you at arm's length, you know. And I've learned as well that just because you could do positive things for someone, and, I could recruit people to that server. I could say, hey, why don't you join this? Why don't you? You're into the same kind of sports as us, and all this, but you can join this server, right? Or stuff like that. And just because you do things for them and grow the server or whatever, just put it out there that you exist, right? And this place exists for anyone who wants to join, right? Just because you do that, that doesn't mean that they'll appreciate you for that. You know, you can do all this and they still won't consider you one of them, right? And that's just how people are. Like even when they claim that they're open and we accept everyone here, they in reality most groups like this are very insulated, and they only accept whoever gets there first, basically, and whoever has the most social points, or whoever who shares the same opinions or whatever. It's like that in real life as well. Because I remember I did when I was in school, like well, just after leaving school, I was in a job, and I knew this guy from school who I used to hang out with, and he would invite me out. He went to college, right? But I wasn't in the college. I was just working, and he would invite me out to see his friends, right, from college, and you could tell. I could tell when I was there that these guys saw me as an outsider. They saw me as an other, right? Someone who doesn't fit the culture because I wasn't in the same college as them, right? So they looked at me and said, who is this guy? Why is he hanging out with us? Like, they didn't say that directly, right? But you can tell from the way that they act and, the looks they give you that they don't see you as one of them, right? And I remember I even, a lot of people like to say to me, you don't put yourself out there, you don't initiate things with anyone, you don't make things happen for yourself, right? But I was actually, when I was there with the people, with the college guys, I was actually, making conversation with them and, approaching them. But, even though I was doing all that, that doesn't mean that they were open to speaking to me, you know? Like, they already had the little in group and they didn't want people they didn't know there, right? Or who knows, they disliked me for whatever reason, and I don't really want to think about what that reason could be because, you know, there's no point in even thinking about it, to be honest. But I do remember I talked to one guy, and um he was friendly at first. He was saying, "Oh, how are you doing?" Like we were making small talk, just about bro, random things. And I remember that the next time I was invited out and I saw that guy, right, he looked at me, and I said to him, "Hey, how you doing?" And he kind of looked at me like I had two heads, or I was an alien. Like, it was as if I was someone who had just randomly approached him out of the blue from the street, right, and said something weird to him. But that just shows you how certain people get treated in life, right? Certain people just get treated like dirt, and even when you try to put yourself out there and become part of groups and all this, that doesn't mean that they'll accept you, right? And this has been a running theme throughout my life. Like, I've joined lots of different groups, as they call it, or hobby groups, meet up things, whatever you call them. I've done all the right things that you're supposed to do, right? When you don't have any status in life or you don't have much of a social life. I've done all the things you're supposed to do, and it just doesn't work out at all. Like, I could go into another story, but really, I think I've made my point already because, just because you put yourself out there and join groups, do all this stuff, doesn't mean that you still won't be an outsider, right? And another thing that a lot of guys get taught to do is to be passive, right? A lot of guys are taught by their family and society to, just shut up, deal with your own shit, and, things will happen for you, right? But it really doesn't matter either way what you do. Nothing is going to happen for you either way. Even if you do put yourself out there and try to make things happen, a lot of the time it just doesn't do anything, right? And it's the same if you stay passive. Like, you're not going to get friends or a relationship out of that, right? So really, there's no win for certain guys. Certain guys just seem doomed, and I don't understand what it is. but certain guys just don't have any luck at all in life. So yeah, whether it's online in some group through Discord or whatever, YouTube, whatever, or in real life, just because you find somewhere that you're supposedly accepted in, or that would theoretically be your type of thing, right, or your type of group, just because you find something like that, that doesn't mean that they'll accept you, or, you know, or even if you find a group of people and you, like, say you dress the same way, you like the same music, you like the same video games, you like the same anime, you like the same sports, you like the same music, whatever, like, because I used to be part of the heavy metal community, which I'm no longer a part of, because the people in that community are all the same as any other community, even though they act like they're different. They act like they're an outsider, some, you know, that they're not like the mainstream, they're not like normies. But really, any niche community like that is not really niche, because the social dynamics is just the same as any other community, you know? Like they want the certain people that they know and that they're comfortable with. They want to be talking to those only, right? And anyone else is just kind of looked at with suspicion, or you know, you're too late for this or whatever. We don't, for whatever reason, we don't want you here because we already have our own set of people that we're already hanging out with, right? So the message of this video is just be wary of who you join with and keep your expectations low, because a lot of the time it just won't work out for you. But anyway, have a good day, guys. See you for the next time. Bye bye.